This is a story about one of nature's top predators and how it uses its stamina, intelligence, and tenacity to survive. For the first time, you'll have an extraordinary view of the wolf and the wolf's world. Through the eyes of its leaders and their family, the pack, you'll witness the stress and success of their life as a team. And see how the events in the pack's life take place here, in their territory. A place that's worth protecting in any way they can. You'll join them in their constant search for food big enough to fight back. And watch as they battle their bitterest enemies, their neighbors, and their other fierce rival, the grizzly. Encounters that threaten their future. This is a story, but everything you're about to see is based on fact. The strength of the wolf is the pack, but is this pack up to the challenges of life on the wolf battlefield? The Rocky Mountains of North America, home to hundreds of wolves. A wilderness that stretches for thousands of square kilometers. With special technology, we can analyze the wolf's world in a way that ordinary cameras cannot show. Creating a virtual reality. From this view, we can focus in on just 200 square kilometers, our pack's domain, revealing the key zones within it. Lowland plains, with ridges above for lookout points. A river that flows all year round. Dense forested slopes for cover. And all this flanked by towering mountain peaks. Prime wolf territory, currently occupied by our battlefield pack, the Jets. This tightly knit team of 7 wolves is led by the alpha pair, a big silver male and his smaller black mate. The alphas are mother and father to 4 adolescents, all born just under 2 years ago. The 7th wolf, an adult male, is an outsider and pack underdog. All the wolves are expert hunters. They need to be. It's January, and on the face of it, the wolf's world looks lifeless. There's deep snow on the high slopes, and it's minus 20 degrees Celsius. Most small mammals are hibernating and are off the menu. Only larger prey, like buffalo and elk, are awake and available. But they're too big for a single wolf to tackle, and they're always on the move to find enough to eat. So the Jets must stick together and be nomadic too. Wolves are built for long-distance travel. Their long legs, big lungs, and hearts give them a cruising speed of 8 miles per hour. They can average 50 kilometers a day and clock up 3 laps of their territory a week. But how do they find their way around such a large area, and where do they start looking for food? It's always one of the alpha wolves who leads the way. The alphas have held this territory for almost 3 years. Experience has taught them that the herds don't move randomly. They visit favorite feeding areas at certain times of year, and they always follow the same routes. Wolves don't move randomly either, which suggests they have a mental map of their territory, an inbuilt route planner that helps them visualize where they are and which path to take to intercept their prey. A wolf's brain is 30% bigger than a dog's, and it's this extra brain power that helps the wolf navigate so effectively. The pack's trails make up a closed circuit inside their territory, but some routes connect with their neighbors' trails, creating a huge network of wolf highways for thousands of square kilometers. With so many other wolves in this area, it's vital our pack has exclusive rights to its territory and food supply. Somehow the wolves must protect what's theirs. Because next door, they have the neighbors from hell. In just 4 years, this rival pack has grown unusually large. There are 22 of them. The big pack's alpha wolves have raised many youngsters, and none of them have left home yet. There are problems with a pack this size. They can't afford a day without a kill, and to find enough food, they need a big territory. This makes the big pack dangerous. Sooner or later, they could invade the jet's living space. Our pack's best defense is to engage in chemical warfare. The agent they use is scent. It's a clear warning to outsiders to keep out, a signal all wolves recognize and ignore at their peril. Wolves leave a scent mark every 100 meters or so along their trails and boundaries. These signposts are unmissable, and they last for weeks. Ideal for animals constantly on the move. And the source material is portable and easy to produce. As the urine spreads and evaporates, it releases the wolf's personal perfume. Scent marking is the responsibility of the 2 pack leaders. All they need to do is refresh each mark as they travel, leaving a trail of reassuringly familiar, smelly hotspots. A wolf has more than 200 million scent receptors in its nose, making its sense of smell 10,000 times more sensitive than ours. Along its territorial boundaries, each pack goes into overdrive, responding to the threatening smell of its neighbors. The stakes are so high here that wolves use droppings as well as urine as a double deterrent to intruders. The alphas encounter and produce a scent signal every 2 minutes. By doggedly reinforcing their front line, they try to keep their territory secure. Leaving them time to relax and socialize. The pack's social life revolves around the alpha wolves. They dominate more by strength of personality than by brute force. They use facial expressions and body language to keep everyone in line and show how they feel. Dominance and submission help keep the peace. These tussles may look aggressive, but they can simply be a way of reinforcing bonds and reassuring each wolf of its place in the pack. The adolescents are almost full grown, but still too young to leave the pack. For them, free time is playtime. Company is vital for a wolf. Separation can lead to disaster. Last spring, the alpha female was left alone. With prey in very short supply, the pack was forced to split up to search for food, leaving her at the den to guard her pups. After a week, she faced a harsh choice: leave her pups or starve. Even underground, pups can be vulnerable, but in the end, the mother's hunger drove her to take the risk. A grizzly's sense of smell is as powerful as a wolf's, and after a long winter without food, it has a craving for protein. This time, the wolves' attack came too late. With her pups dead, the female's only chance to breed last year was dashed. Teamwork is the key to wolf survival. Even if you're the underdog, it's best to be one of the gang. Life on his own would be lonely and short. Operating as a pack is also the only way wolves can hunt big animals effectively. And it's always the alpha wolves who take the lead. The Jets haven't eaten for 4 days, and now they're totally focused on finding food. Each wolf taps into its mental map, which isn't just a 3-dimensional route planner, it's also a picture catalog, a menu of prey animals available. Any one is an attractive target, but ranging in size from 50 to 1,000 kilos, none is easy meat. Bighorn sheep are fairly small, but live in groups, have big attitudes, and serious headgear. Others, like moose, are solitary and roam territories of their own. Every few weeks, the wolves check up on them to see if they've become sick or injured. Who'd to hunt and when are key to a successful kill, and their mental maps help them select animals that could offer the easiest pickings. Top of the menu today are elk, and the wolves must use their mental map to work out how to intercept them. Years of following migrating herds all through the changing seasons mean the wolves have memorized the elk's routine. In January, they can predict the elk are heading for the valleys to the east, 40 kilometers away. Just getting here has taken 7 hours. Now they find a vantage point to keep the elk under surveillance. The best strategy for hunting big animals is to select the most vulnerable. Usually by midwinter, with food harder to find, some pregnant females will be struggling. As well as being almost 4 months pregnant, they have their 7-month-old calves with them. The youngsters are weaned, but still stay with their mothers for protection. Wolves are always interested in calves, as they're more likely to make mistakes. But so far, this winter's been mild, and food in this valley is still within easy reach. The females look well fed and healthy, and so do their calves. Has our pack come all this way for nothing? And there's another problem. The Jets are only 4 kilometers from their northern border. There's a danger the elk will drift across into big pack territory. From their position above the herd, the wolves may be able to spot a weak animal. After hours of waiting, it's the alpha male who makes a move. They've seen no obvious soft target, so it's time to take a closer look. They make no attempt to hide as they approach. And the elk know they're there. The wolves split up and assess the herd, looking for the wounded, the lame, the weak. Weakness is easier to see if the elk are moving, easier still if they're running. The alpha female has picked out a nervous calf. At this age, it's had little experience of wolves, and its confidence can be easily shaken. Now the elk are forced to run, but the older animals know what to do. They run towards the front and in the middle of the herd, furthest away from the chasing pack, where they're less likely to be spotted if they're carrying an injury. The wolves can run as fast as elk, but after going without food for several days, will they have the stamina to keep up? The elk head for a frozen riverbed where drifting snow is deeper than on the slopes. It's not a problem for the long-legged elk, but it slows the wolves and saps their energy. The wolves clear the drift and accelerate to 40 miles per hour. The herd tries a different strategy and heads for the woods. They're much more sure-footed on the uneven surface of roots and hollows around the trees. Here, the wolves might find it tough to keep up, and perhaps among the trees, it's harder for them to single out a target. But the wolves are still focused, seeking to match their mental picture with a victim. The elk now turn for high ground and use the slope to pick up speed and shake off the wolves that way. Invisible to them, the herd runs straight through the pack's territorial boundary, marked by their scent. But will the wolves cross their own front line? They don't hesitate. The stakes are just too high. They're in no man's land now, and just a kilometer from the border of the big pack's territory. Even after 5 kilometers, the wolves still push the elk. The alpha female's locked onto a target, but the elk looks young and fit. So what can she see that we can't? In fact, the elk's lame, and by slowing down the action, we can analyze her injury. Her right hind leg looks deformed and she can't fully extend it as she runs. Her hock joint appears bigger than it should be. Inside, there's a bony growth over the joint. It's like arthritis, but in such a young elk, it's probably been caused by a kick or fracture, and it's now become a life-threatening handicap. The younger wolf is lighter and faster than her mother, but the elk weighs 3 times their combined weight, and it will take both of them to bring her down. Hamstringing is an option, but it's not the quickest way to kill, and one kick could be fatal for the wolves. The elk's almost running on empty, but a huge dose of adrenaline gives her a burst of incredible strength. Finally, the elk loses the fight. But our pack's in alien territory, and its presence hasn't gone unnoticed. The big pack is just 2 kilometers away. It too was shadowing the herd and spotted the elk running. Howling helps them muster. And delivers a spine-chilling warning to the jets. No time for squabbling over the best cuts now. They rip into the rump and belly, wolfing down as much meat as they can. A wolf's stomach can store 15 kilos to digest later. Just as well, because the big pack's here in force. Our alpha male is his pack's chief protector, but will he lead them to defend their kill? Outnumbered 3 to 1, they have a simple choice: back off or die. After all our pack's hard work, it's their rivals who benefit. The Jets retreat behind their front line, but at least they're safe to hunt another day. It's February, and this is the first fresh snowfall for months. The worsening conditions and deepening snow could make life harder for all the grazers. But what's bad for the wolf's prey could benefit the wolves, and right now, our pack needs a boost in fortune. The alpha female is ready to mate, which means a new chance to expand the pack. The alpha pair spends most of her 6 weeks on heat together. This close bond is vital. She'll need his help to raise their pups. Wolves mate for life, and it's in the alpha's interests to be the only breeding animals in the pack. It guarantees that all food and attention are devoted to their pups. At just under 2, the adolescents are still too young to breed. When they're ready to start a family, they'll have to leave the pack. For all the wolves, the breeding season is the most stressful time of year. But it's only at kills that tension turns to open aggression. To stay in peak condition, both alphas need and demand the richest pickings. The others must wait their turn. Both the alpha wolves' stress levels are at boiling point. The male picks on his sons. And his mate attacks her daughters. These intense outbursts keep the alpha's stress hormones sky high, but also keeps them on top. And alpha aggression suppresses the other's sex hormones, making them even more subdued. Whatever happens, the best thing to do is just grin and bear it. If there was more than one breeding season a year, there'd be constant antagonism within the pack, and that would threaten everyone's survival. It's late March. The deep snow and freezing conditions of the last few weeks have increased pressure on all the wolf's prey. Food is very hard to find, and many animals are living off their fat reserves. The weak are getting weaker. And it's up to the Jets to find them. But as always, they have a battle plan. They're heading south to a huge area of forest. With its open river course, this location offers both hiding places and food for one of the wolf's most daunting prey, moose. There are 6 moose living within our pack's territory. The wolves visit each one every few weeks to monitor their condition. Their decision to come to this forest isn't a random one. Last time they tracked the moose that lives here, they detected signs of weakness. Now they're back to see if there's any change. They wouldn't stand a chance against a healthy moose, but a sick animal is a different story, and they've come more than 30 kilometers to find out. But first, they've got to track it down. The wolf hunts just as well by night as in the day. To help them see in low light, wolves' eyes are designed for night vision. Their eyes shine because a mirrored layer on the retina reflects all available light back into the eye. The clear lens in the middle sharpens the image. So to a wolf, the forest doesn't look so impenetrable, and its peripheral vision is sensitive to any sudden movement. The wolves split up to search by sight and smell. They can sniff out prey up to 5 kilometers away. All it takes is a single molecule of moose scent in a quadrillion of air molecules to help them identify their target. Up ahead, the solitary moose is looking for food. It's over 2 meters tall and weighs 300 kilos. A formidable opponent for a pack of wolves. The moose has selected its surroundings carefully. The dense trees are a good protection against a wolf attack. And it too has finely tuned senses. But wherever the moose goes, it can't help leaving telltale clues, which could help the wolves build up a picture of their quarry. Millions of its hairs and skin cells constantly shower the ground. Every step creates a scent print from glands in its feet. And thanks to its high-fiber diet, even traces of gas can linger. Just 2 kilometers away, the wolves walk into the moose's scent. For a short while, they stand rigid and point in the direction of the incoming scent. They take long, deep sniffs to identify the smell. Now they're all locked onto their target. They stalk upwind. The first clue, a depression in the snow where the moose rested just an hour ago. The alpha male investigates with quick, short sniffs. He inhales huge volumes of air straight up his nostrils and onto millions of scent receptors. Blowing hard back on the area dislodges even more scent particles, mingled with hair and skin cells. Each one could betray its owner. The heavy skin and hair loss indicates the moose is badly infested with ticks and probably very weak. A second clue, the moose's tracks. The male's nose scans the footprint for the most concentrated odor. This time, as he exhales, he blows air away from the scent through slits in the side of his nose, so it isn't diluted by his breath. There's a hint of pus, suggesting the moose is injured and may well be lame. Their attention shifts from the ground to the branches above. They're looking for a trace of moose saliva. This is it. A foul stench suggests the moose has rotten teeth, a sure sign that it's old. And if it can't chew properly, may well be starving. All the evidence confirms the moose is an ideal target. But the wolves need to get close enough before they strike. But given all the clues, this moose is all but dead on its feet. It's late April, and the wolf battlefield is changing. Rising temperatures stimulate new growth and release hibernating animals from their long sleep. The thaw gives the wolf's prey a welcome respite and offers the promise of fresh food. But spring isn't always an easy time for wolves. In the big pack, there's mutiny. Fighting like this, not linked to the breeding season or a kill, is very rare. It's happening because the pack has grown too big. The alpha's sons and daughters are now old and bold enough to challenge their authority. If they kill their parents, one of the youngsters may get a chance to rule this territory. But force alone isn't enough. Do any of them have the strength of character to be a leader? The big pack's in big trouble. Life couldn't be more different for the Jets. The alpha female has produced 3 pups, and this time she's got more support. One of her daughters is on den duty. After last year's tragedy, her mother's chosen the den site carefully. It's on a steep ridge with excellent views and well inside the pack's territory. It's also 30 meters from a stream, a vital resource for a nursing mother. She needs plenty of fresh water to produce more milk. The newborns induce a surge of puppy love in all the wolves, male and female. This makes the pack want to care for the pups and keeps them working as a team. And right now, all the other members of the team are 10 kilometers away. This spring, there's plenty of large animals inside their territory. After a hard winter, some are too weak to offer much resistance to a hunting pack. Their job is to fill their bellies and take food back to the den for the alpha female and her daughter. From now on, they have to find enough to eat for everyone and keep the pups safe. It's survival at its simplest. But on the wolf battlefield, fortunes can quickly change. Just 40 kilometers from where the Jets are feeding on their kill, this large river has washed up a meal for their neighbors. But the wolves aren't alone. And the young bear's just as desperate for food. These 5 young wolves are all that's left of the big pack. They're near starving and can't afford to lose their carcass. But can they defend it? As part of the big pack, the wolves were efficient killers, but now this small band of youngsters struggle to fend off a young bear. If this is the best they can do, these wolves will lose their battle to survive. Perhaps the big pack has finally had its day. But on the wolf battlefield, the seasons march on. It's early August, and the grazing animals are making the best of the rich menu available during the short, Rocky Mountain summer. Both youngsters and adults will need to be in prime condition for the long winter ahead. Now, at 3 months old, our pack's pups are still the center of attention and old enough to leave the den. Already they're showing the tenacity and character they'll need to survive. The alpha pair's strong leadership has paid off, and the pack's teamwork has given the three pups the best start in life. Together, they've got through the setbacks and challenges of the last year and started to lay the foundations for a bigger, stronger pack. The pups are part of the team and ready to take on the world. It's time for the wolves to return to their life on the move. And the pups can begin to learn the skills they'll need to play their part in killing for the pack. The alpha female and her mate now have another generation to defend their future. And with their neighbors spent, ahead of our pack lies a land of opportunity. On the wolf battlefield, it's time for the Jets to draw a new front line.